Welcome to the 2023 Road Warrior Recognition Awards. My name is Carissa Brewster. I am the staff writer for Whitman Partners. And today we have Rick Coffman, an interim director of surgical services. His last position was the interim CEO / administrator at Greenspring Surgery Center. Welcome, Rick.
Thank you very much, Carissa, for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
The interim lifestyle allows me a lot more relaxing opportunity to go in to a new assignment and just really, truly assess it without any strings attached. Many times when you go in to a new position, especially as a permanent position, a lot of people are on nerves end with, are they going to like me? Or am I going to like them? Whether the people that work for you or the people that you work for are asking themselves those questions, versus just let's listen to this guy and see what he's got to say and move on. I really like that particular part of the interim assignment because it really allows everybody to just get down to business and understand where they want to progress and be successful, versus trying to get people to like them and play politics. So, I've got a very unique background. So I have been in surgical services since I was 18 years old. I've done a role as a surge tech, as an SPD tech. I've done the role of OR nursing, OR manager, OR charge nurse, OR director. I've been in a surgery center as an administrator, so on and so forth. So I've got that type of background. I've also got the background of the military. So I'm also a reserve nurse. So I shared those vast experiences with the people that are interviewing me, and let them know that I am able to help them make a difference in the success of their workplace. Being able to pull from my experiences, being part of the United States Navy Nurse Corps. I'm also the liaison or the specialty leader. So I'm the liaison to the admirals in the Nurse Corps, and share with them the perioperative specialty across the reserves. So I also take care of all of the reserve nurses as well. So that's basically how I distinguish myself and make a difference between myself and the other candidates. Hey, I've got that experience. We can pull from that experience, and also I'm always on the edge of finding new things and what's next inside healthcare. So I share that with them as well. I'm always looking at the payment schedule for Medicare or Medicaid, or what's happening in the cultures of healthcare, and share that with the potential employer. I always ask several questions. I always ask, what is it that they're looking to accomplish by hiring an interim administrator or an interim manager? What does it look like in 90 days, 30, 60, 90 days? What does it look like at those time periods when you can sit back and say, hey, Rick is successful because? What does that look like? I always ask those questions. I also ask why the position is open. Obviously, being able to understand where we've been can help us where we're going as well. So hearing those answers really allows me to make a good decision on whether or not I want to be able to put myself into that particular position, and whether or not I can actually help somebody. Every time I walk into a new position, that is exactly what happens. I have not ever seen it where people walk in and give me a hug and say, oh, thanks for being here. I never see that. I always get that nervous vibe. I get the nervous vibe from the people that are going to be working for me as a leader, because exactly what you're talking about. we see change in leadership, are they going to change my way of life, my everyday coming to work? This is what I depend on, and my family depends on this, and I don't want to make change. And then I also see that with the leaders or the people that I report to as well. So, for example, at Greenspring Surgery Center, I had an opportunity to meet with the directors, the medical director, anesthesia, director of anesthesia, director, the president of the board, so on and so forth. And I sat with them and helped them understand who I was, um, everything that I just talked about. And I told them that I was there to help them and we were going to be wildly successful. Um, and if there was anything that they needed to tell me, that I'm an open book. I am there for them, and really calm their nerves, and get to know them. I also asked for their support as we were starting to make changes. I also reached out to each one of them and we had meetings and I asked them for their support. This is what I'm going to say. This is what I'm going to do. So when staff come to you to try to divide us, I would like your support in this. And by just having that conversation, I think it really calmed their nerves because they knew that we were all on the same page at that point. Having a staff meeting, almost immediately having a staff meeting, having a meeting with each individual staff member and getting to know them, understanding who they are, and understanding what really lights their fire, really was the best way that I've ever been able to get people to calm down and just really take a big deep breath and say, this is going to be okay. We talk about change, change with leadership, change in lifestyle, change in culture, and I help them understand that it's really more of a progress or success is what it is. We think about all the things that we've done in our lives, such as getting a driver's license. When I was 16, I got my driver's license, and guess what? That was change in my life, but I was not fighting that change. That was success for me, right? So being able to help the staff understand that when you have just a minor change in what you do, it can actually be a minor success, and we build on those successes. At Greenspring Surgery Center, I think we were extremely successful. As we start putting those words together, we made a lot of changes, but the culture there was completely different than when I started, and I'm so terribly thankful. It was that was very rewarding. So obviously the reimbursement from insurance companies is not going up. Medicare, Medicaid is not going up typically. It's staying the same or actually going down. So what we try to do is, first of all, I go in and I look at our contracts. What can I do with our vendors? And that goes from every single vendor that we've got, from our telephone companies, our internet providers, all the way to our linen providers, to our surgical vendors, and negotiate those contracts and renegotiate those contracts, and really keep an eye on that, keep my finger on the pulse of those particular contracts, and see what I can do to help decrease those contracts, and therefore increase the revenue or the income as well. One of the other things that I look at is staffing and making sure that we are right sizing the staff. We don't want to overstaff anybody, but we don't want to understaff either. So we have to right size the staffing. So that's what I look at as well. So it's really a lot of all of those things. That's how I help increase the revenue, if you will. I also look at the revenue cycle. So we know that if our bills are being paid on time, if our invoices are being paid on time, either from the patients, making sure we make smart choices when we offer patients a payment plan, Or if we're going to bill out to the insurance company, make sure that we do that in a timely manner and we follow up with all of the appropriate paperwork at the right time, the first time. So that's what we were able to do. As a matter of fact, we were able to do that at Greenspring Surgery Center as well. We turned it around from a very low budgeted profit margin to realizing a very high profit margin. So I was very, very thankful for everybody that we were able to work with there. So surgical care coordination really is very dependent upon the specialty that we're talking about. If we're talking about orthopedics, it's a completely different coordination than, say, urology or even colonoscopies, endoscopies. So what I do is I teach the surgery scheduler all of the different things that they need to know, that they need to capture on the front end in order to keep us from having canceled cases, for example. I sit with the managers and I sit with the charge nurses and I talk to them about what to be on the lookout for, so they know that they're supposed to be asking for those things in the beginning, on the front end. So you talk about surgical care coordination. We make sure just being proactive, right? That's really the word that we're talking about. We make sure that we've got the right supplies and the right equipment and the right implants way before that case comes on. So even our materials manager has an opportunity to view the schedule so they can make sure that we've got the right equipment on the shelves before surgery comes. So it all comes about. It all definitely comes about. And then making sure the patient understands their surgery as well. And that goes back to the charge nurses during the interviews with the patient, making sure they understand everything so we can avoid any of our cancellations. One of the things that I do when I prepare my successor is I provide them with a folder full of all of the information, the critical information. For example, at the administrator role, they need to know where their insurance is. They need to know where their DEA numbers are. They need to know their Medicare number. Anyway, I provide them a folder with all of those things. And then offline, the less oh gosh, what's the word I'm looking for now? This is where you're going to have to edit it out as well. Okay, so besides the folder, I also give them offline. I have a mentor meeting with them, and I talk to them about each person and where they're going, and basically the culture, what they need to do, and what they should look for, and the pitfalls with each center or each department, so they have a good idea of what success will look like. I'm not telling them how to do their job. I'm telling them, giving them a good understanding of the personalities that are in play. And if they understand that in the beginning, I think it gives them a better footing on the starting line where they are. I used to think that I'm not going to give anybody any opinions because that might sway their opinion for each and every position that I'm in. But eventually they find out about the same opinions, and following up with them later on, they would get the same opinions that I would have given them, and they would have made the same decisions based off of the information that they had. So it just allows them to get started a little bit quicker, I guess, when I tell them in the beginning.
Yeah, that makes sense. It kind of it helps them to avoid any challenges.
Yes, awareness of the culture. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, it was great talking with you. And thanks for taking time out of your day to speak with us.
Absolutely. Well,
Mhm.
hey, thanks for having me. I do truly appreciate it.